As the recent high-level panel report on the responsibility to protect noted, the principle has universal and enduring application. It's relevant in every region. And of course, no region is immune to the commission of the 4 acts outlined in the Summit Outcome document. This July in Europe, we will commemorate the 20th anniversary of Srebrenica. The crimes associated with the principle of responsibility to protect are part of every region's responsibility. So there's 5 points I would like to just draw out of the high-level panel report in thinking about Southeast Asia in particular, and I hope that my much more qualified colleagues on the panel will be able to elaborate on some of these when we think about Pillar 2 in this context. Firstly, the vision that's set out in the report of the high-level panel is one that resonates very much excuse me, with the UN's own and the Secretary General's own vision for the implementation of responsibility to protect. And I quote from the panel report, "The vision is of a caring ASEAN community in Southeast Asia that protects its own people from the very worst of crimes known to humanity." Secondly, the report demonstrates that the responsibility to protect is not an alien concept to this region. The principles and norms associated with responsibility to protect converge with ideas and aspirations in this region. Commitments that ASEAN member states have again made to each other, and I stress again the importance of thinking about under Pillar 2, the ways in which states can support one another to fulfill their responsibilities. Thirdly, the report underscores that a more proactive approach to protecting populations in this region doesn't necessarily demand a huge new bureaucracy or new regional architecture. Thanks to the text of the 2007 Charter, which refers to people-centered ideas, and thanks to the evolution of ASEAN as a political and security community, there's groundwork here for an early warning mechanism. And of course, with the Commission on Human Rights, there are tools that exist to implement many of the commitments associated with responsibility to protect. And I also want to note here the important role that can be played by the ASEAN Commission on the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Women and Children in particular. Fourthly, the region also contains complementary institutions that can help as the ASEAN region works towards implementation of the agenda in the high-level panel report, but also the R2P agenda more broadly. The ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, which can lead research on the risk factors that are particular to this part of the world. Because while we know that there are a set of common risk factors, they play out differently in different parts of the world. And as we discussed over the last day in our consultation with experts from this region, there is an important story to be told in Southeast Asia, which I hope my colleague Alex Bellamy will tell the story in his forthcoming book about why there's been a decrease in the incidence of these crimes in this part of the world. What is responsible for that decrease? So understanding both the risk factors and the story of Southeast Asia is something that the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation could take on. And the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights, an organization that's already set out an agenda that includes important steps, including adopting relevant legal instruments. Finally, fifthly, there's more we can do to support ASEAN's efforts to create that caring community. And when I say we, I mean bodies within the United Nations, which have a role to play, an ongoing role to play in working in collaboration with ASEAN. We can enhance the ASEAN-UN partnership in which the Secretariats currently meet by strengthening the regularity of that agenda and ensuring that it discusses issues related to atrocity crime prevention. We can help to design training programs based on our women's recommendations. And in discussion with ASEAN, think about what kind of an agenda for training might work in this region. And we can support civil society organizations in this part of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility to protect is designed not only to strengthen state sovereignty by helping to ensure that states protect their populations from the most serious international times, but also, as I said earlier, to build a partnership for protection in which states support one another, but also in which a variety of actors each play their role. Actors in the private sector, which are becoming more important in this region, and also civil society. Each have their part to play. And I think the partnership for protection that I'm describing can also give greater moral momentum to individuals in their various roles to do what they can to prevent and respond to atrocity crimes. As individuals, we too have a part to play in this shared responsibility. And so I want to thank you, all of you, on behalf of the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who has been an ardent supporter of the principle of responsibility to protect. And I want to thank you particularly for your individual commitment and efforts to implement this very important